Children of Standard 7, we have been discussing about nutrition in animals in previous few classes, and the aspects of this chapter were nutrition in some animals, in which we discussed about the basic steps of nutrition that we find in many animals. And as you remember, the steps were ingestion, absorption, assimilation, and egestion. And in that context, we discussed about the nutrition in amoeba, nutrition in hydra, nutrition in frog, and nutrition in paramecium. In that context, we discussed about human digestive system and about its physiology. In that context, when we started discussing about human digestive system, we discussed about the structure and function of teeth and its role in digestion. Now, today's topic of discussion is tongue, because tongue is also having a role in digestion. So, first food is broken down by teeth and tongue mixes the food with saliva so that it will be easier for the movement of food from mouth to esophagus. So, first when we start discussion about the tongue, we have to discuss and we have to see the structure of tongue and the different taste areas of the tongue. Tongue is having reasons for the different taste buds. It has an area for the sweet, for the salty, for the sour, and for the bitter taste. So first, the tongue is a fleshy muscular organ. It is free at the front so that it can move in any direction. And when we see the functions of the tongue, we see that it helps in mixing saliva with food so that food can be soft, and the softness of food makes its movement easier. And the second function of the tongue is it helps in swallowing of the food so that food can easily move towards esophagus, that is food pipe. Third function of the tongue is getting the taste of the food. And fourth function of the tongue, it helps in talking and speaking. So when we take the function of the tongue is to get the taste of the food, we again go to the picture and diagram of the tongue where we see the four places of the taste buds, that is sweet, salty, sour, and bitter. So front of the tongue detects sweet taste of the food. And just behind the sweet, there is a place and taste bud for the taste of salty food. And just behind the salty taste bud, thus there is taste bud on the sides of the tongue. There are taste buds for the sour taste. And at the back of the tongue, there is taste buds for the bitter taste. So, when we see the taste of the food is felt by our this precious sense organ, that is tongue, it helps us in speaking, in swallowing, in mixing the food with saliva. We can understand and feel when we keep a piece of ice at our tongue, on our tongue, we can feel the tastelessness of the ice. But when we keep a piece of ice cream, we can feel the sweetness of the ice cream at the tip of our tongue. So, this is all about the tongue and the structure and function of the human tongue.